19th century political earthquakes. Before that, one of the other great upheavals that would shake the 19th century political system in Europe was the unification of the German states, not including Austria, into the German Empire. The importance of the unification lies in the strategic facts that the new German Empire became the most populous state in Europe, with the largest army, in a central geographic position. Economically, Germany had, by the 1870s, more industrial power than any other state in the world, with the possible exception of the growing United States economy. These realities gave Germany a strategic potential that was both unmatched and quite worrying for its neighbors, but the unification of Germany led to some of the political and social realities of the 20th century as well. We should know something about it for those reasons. One of the largest German states before the 1860s, Prussia became the kernel of German unification in the 1870s. Prussia's king had long been an elector, a member of the elite group of nobles who had the right to cast votes for the office of the Holy Roman Emperor. The king from 1861 to 1888 of Prussia was William I. The story of unification begins because William desired to upgrade his army and include more soldiers. The problem was that his population wasn't large enough to support a force larger than it had at the time, and the army was already expensive and the best equipped in Europe, and so he had no extra tax revenue. In order to get that tax revenue, he appointed a member of the Prussian landed aristocracy, a guy by the name of Otto von Bismarck, and made him minister-president of Prussia and foreign minister for Prussia, and then tried to get him to figure out how to increase the strength and size of Prussia's army. Initially, Bismarck had no success, and he then decided to reinterpret the Constitution of Prussia, arbitrarily deciding that if the Representative Assembly refused to okay the budget for the upcoming fiscal year, that didn't mean there was no budget, only that the budget would remain the same as it had been in the last fiscal year. So when the new parliament was elected, he couldn't get them to increase taxes, so he continued with the same budget, and so he had to change things over again by creating what's known as the Reichstag, which you see here. And this, by the way, is a statue of Bismarck, the man who created it. This is essentially a lower house of the Prussian parliament that he put together in hopes that these non-aristocratic people would support the Kaiser and increase taxes. And this worked well for lots of reasons. Bismarck's first step in the process was to partner with Austria in a kind of pan-German confederation to jointly take the most German-speaking provinces of Schleswig and Holstein from Denmark. And he then double-crossed Austria in order to bring those two provinces generally under the control of Prussia. Then he created fear of Austria in the rest of the German Confederation and was able to defeat them in order to take back parts of Bavaria, Württemberg, and Baden from the Austrians. The German states south of the Rhine River, that is, these states in this area right here, right, were not really keen to become part of the the Prussian Empire, so Bismarck then engineered a system to get them as well to join. He created a crisis. The King of Spain had died without an heir, so both a German prince and a French noble were qualified to succeed to the Kingdom of Spain. And so during the negotiations over who would control Spain, Bismarck sent a telegram in the clear, without code, insulting the Spanish claimant to the throne. And this allowed France to take the bait and threaten invasion of Germany from this territory. And that threat of invasion had these states in this area very worried that France would control them. So they asked Prussia to defend them, and Prussia agreed to defend them if they would unify with it and allow the Prussian king to control their troops. So this then unifies Germany in 1861 as a single empire. The United States, Japan, and China in the late 19th century were eventful as well. The United States experienced the first real test of its union and ideas since the War of 1812. During the Civil War, Japan underwent a similar directional change between 1854 and 1868, when political power was removed from the shogun and restored to the emperor. In China, the 19th century saw the Taiping Rebellion, which was the largest civil war in history, and the Boxer Rebellion of 1900. All of these major political upheavals included significant violence and were related in one way or another to the spread of classical liberal and nationalist ideas even beyond Europe. So from the end of Napoleon in 1815 to the end of the 19th century, European states saw important changes in national and international character and organization. A conservative leadership that created monarchies that redrew the European map after Napoleon found by the end of the 19th century that political stability domestically increasingly required the help of nationalism and liberalism, two political forces that they had tried to control for most of the century. Cooperation between the European monarchs and the liberals and nationalists was always a difficult process, but by the end of the century it produced a set of nation-states whose internal and external politics set up the realities, including the wars, of the 20th century. By 1861, nationalism and liberalism had led to the unification of Italy and Germany. By 1872, and the unified states were larger, more populous, and more economically powerful than they had been as separate units, and their ability to challenge France and Great Britain led to increases in nationalism and started Europe on the road to World War I.